You know, one of the things that I enjoy doing a lot more than writing out these stories and such is just building out the world around. Sorry. And when it comes to the world that encompasses, a good chunk of the stories that I have, they're mostly just like one off things that I generate and I don't know, right? Like, I enjoy making the environment, the like how things work rather than making a whole entire story around it. Like, I don't enjoy the story part myself, but you know, for people to listen, there has to be a story to it at least. Or, maybe some people will be interested in, just me explaining the world, exposition or something. Maybe I am interested in just showcasing some of the ideas that I have. Like, I've had some sci-fi ideas, some fantasy ideas, some ideas that actually just came from dream. Like, oh man, dude. Like for the sci-fi one, um, I had this idea where, like, we've already spread across the galaxy, right? But we don't have faster than light travel, right? So the problem with that would be people keep on spreading, right? But in the end, um, traveling from one end of like the galaxy to another would be way too like long for any reasonable person to go along them. So with that, there's like pockets of people that that experience, different things. And there's different sectors for different like specialties such, right? Like people know that they exist. Like there has been the odd one or two traveler between systems, right? But other than that, they've been mostly isolated because of, the vast distance that space has on people, right? And like I considered like what the main like central um like trading or like not trading like uh social points would be of each and every single sector. And I'm like, everyone has to have news, right? And then everyone, probably does trading, right? So like in the middle of each and every single sector, there would be like a certain trading hub, and also there would be a news hub, right? And sometimes like maybe like sometimes um the news hubs were able to talk to each other, right? And like if there is like a massive change happening throughout the entire galaxy, then then that would be something that people would consider like sharing to other sectors, right? Because it's just like, or maybe like someone in like I don't know, the like research sector, right? Um, made a big breakthrough in some certain science. Maybe they did find faster than light travel, but it just hasn't spread out to everyone yet because uh it's just the way that that it was spread. Because yes, they do have faster than light travel, but it still takes time to get to places. It still takes um like energy. It still takes a good chunk of the time. But um it's easy to spread news because I mean, everyone's using like radio waves and such, right? So that would be literal light speed travel, not faster than light per se, but it would be light speed and it would be, permeating from that area, right? And I thought about having some like specific news stories that come from that. Like one of the certain stories that I was thinking about, telling with this one, I didn't get around to doing it really because it really didn't fit well, right? I explained this in one of my streams before, but yeah, it's been a good little bit, right? And for one of the streams, I think was, or no, for one of the stories was, um, there was there's this planet, right, that people are observing that has become basically toxic on the surface to, well, human life at least, right? Like maybe there are aliens, right? Maybe aliens exist, but I haven't gotten around to. I don't think I could incorporate that yet, but with spreading out throughout the entire galaxy, it's definitely something that people would probably consider. You know, like the chances of alien life being in our galaxy is it's not zero, right? And if we spread throughout the entire galaxy, you know, there's a good chance that we find an alien. That's nothing new. That's nothing different. Um, but uh, we're just saying for now, at least on this planet, um, it has become laid barren to um to human life at the very least, right? Like let's say maybe some animals could live on the surface, like very resilient, right? Like cockroaches or something, right? But like anything that's probably as large as like a bird or bigger would probably be a little too much, right? It's just not easy to evolve to the point of, you know, the planet is that toxic, right? It's gotten to a point where it's just way too much for humans at least to handle. So what they have done was they mined underground, right? And then set up an entire basically underground city. Or not really a city, but like there's like different settlements underground, right? And um they because of like how much they had to work with, they just became like very big tinkerers, right? And like um things went more steampunky and the normal, and eventually, right, they're able to find a way to like harness at least like the toxic stuff up in the surface and use that as like fuel, right? Because it's still there, right? It's in the surface, but like they it's just like they can't um and like yeah, they might be polluting the ground that they're going through as well, but like it's they gotta survive somehow, even if it is at the expense of other people and such, right? So like maybe I was thinking about like them like people in space reporting what they see down on the surface of those planets, but I myself don't really know how well that would really form out, right? And then I was planning on doing a couple news segments with like the news stations. Um, but yeah, like what the mining people there were ideas of just like them progressing technology their own way, and it like going down the route of like steampunk-ish cities that you know thrived, and because of like multiple cave-ins of like previous expeditions to like other cities basically. They've stopped with trying to make tunnels and such because maybe the earth was like too unstable, right? And they've instead changed to like massive drill machines that basically moved the soil in front of them to behind them, right? So basically they made it so they don't have like they're able to move through the soil, but they don't disturb it too much so that, a cave in or something happens. Um like I'm not a structural engineer, so I can't really tell you if like that would be um something that's even viable or something that, people would go for, right? But like, maybe it's like um something that's like tied to their structure um of society, right? Where everyone is scared of a tunnel, and any large scale projects that are proposed to make that tunnel are immediately shut down by most of the people, um because you know they're just scared of another cave-in happening with how um I don't know, strange or like unknown the soil is, right? And that I mean that's like that was like one of the ideas of the mole people, right? And um let's see, along the ideas of the space station, right? Like I was just like thinking about reporting on like different societies of different planets, right? Like we have okay, this is where alien life forms do probably would show up, right? Like people in Solaris, or I wouldn't say people, but like beings in Solaris, are afraid of having too much sunlight or something like along those lines. And people of I don't even remember a good chunk of this stuff. I did have it written down, but I don't remember which. So I guess that's not saying anything along those lines at the moment. Let's see. Another thing that would really what I did think of recently, at least, was uh the idea of, well, a practical infinite library, of course, because there can't be. Maybe if I went under the fantasy terms, right? This is an infinite library, and let's just say like each and every single book had like different like I want to say a story, right? Because maybe right in one of these books they feel like having just bleacher, right? And that could be like a good chunk of the books. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the site. I don't remember what it's called exactly, like the Babel forum, I think. Um, where like it is technically meant to be an archive of everything on the internet, right? Kind of ish. But it doesn't really codify that because like 90% of it is garbled mess because it's all just random stuff. But technically, right, technically you can find Shakespeare in it. And technically you can find like any single book that is written at that time. It's just 99.9999 however much is complete gibberish, right? So like you can have a library that catalogs literally everything technically. Um by making a library first of all infinite, and making like let's just say there was like a book full of zeros, right? And then you had a one, and then you had a two, and then all the way up to like nine, right? And then it just goes and it just keeps on going, right? And mm, like it just fills up the entire library like that. Technically, right? That could be everything in the world. Um, like it would be completely impractical, and maybe it's just like maybe it's just random stories that people considered to have. Like even like the slightest thought of creating a story, maybe that ends up in the infinite library, right? Like like maybe like think about like whenever a little kid um has like like plays as a sorcerer or something and with their friends, magician. Like everyone has had the fantasy, playing as X thing. Like well, I wouldn't say everyone, but most people at least have. And I think like think about all of those stories that you know are untold technically from many standpoints. Because why would they tell it? But this library itself acts as a means to at least provide a way to have those stories, right? Like every single princess that has time with their parents or something, right? Then that becomes a book in the library, rather than it just being a complete garbled mess 99% of the time. It would be stories, but it is literally every single story that has been thought of, right? And maybe, right, it has keepers where uh people are able to find out if these stories are meaningful or anything, and pick out little ones from time to time where they're able to have like a book club and tell these stories that people have but aren't able to tell, right? Just like any imagination that comes up, any um idea that happens, anything that you know happens upon a person's thought just gets put down right here as a story. Because well, maybe let's just say they believe that all stories have meaning. All right, like not that they derive a meaning from it. It's like the stories themselves matter, right? And it deserves to have I wouldn't say an audience because not everyone, nobody's gonna read, or like not all the stories are gonna be read, right? But all the stories deserve an audience, and all the stories deserve their deserve the um at least a place where it matters, even if it's infinitesimally small. It is a story that at least they should think could exist. And well, that I mean, yeah, that's one of the fantasy kind of ones that I kind of thought of. Like the idea of a library, like maybe we will do it like maybe it's backroom style, right? Where it's just a full on library that um people don't really age in, people don't get hungry in, but there's not really an escape, right? Maybe that could be maybe that could be something that someone would be interested in creating. I myself don't really know what I don't know what will really come next, in my opinion. Like I think that if I do want to go down the route of stories, right? Or if I just want to go down the route of uh like just world building, build a interesting world, right? And let people think about it. Let people formulate their own ideas, their own opinions, their own stories. Because I mean, there's nothing like everyone in every single story will have at least something that they don't like about it. Sometimes, I will admit sometimes people think that it's just perfect through and through, right? But 99% of the time people think about how there's a problem with this story or this this just doesn't make any sense, right? And that's okay. It's okay. But if you let people formulate their own story, maybe they can formulate their own. Maybe they don't, right? Maybe they need help with another storyteller. And that's perfectly fine. Everyone has their own ways about doing things. Everyone has their own lifestyles. Everyone has their own um paths that they kind of go down, right? Sometimes people are just not creatively how do I say this? Extract no. I don't want to say gifted, right? Like some people are just like a little bit more dry when it comes to thinking about their own thing. I do enjoy like me, right? I enjoy world building, but I don't really enjoy the um the stories that I make, right? I enjoy thinking of a world where I think something happens rather than thinking of the something happening, right? Like in my plane room story, I really enjoyed making the world of plane room. Um like I thought it was creatively unique enough, right? Like there had to be at least like a monster. There had to be at least something that people would get excited for story, right? And like I just like I myself couldn't think about the um the stuff that goes through like it's a good chunk of work making the story itself rather than um making the world around the story, right? Because the first part, right, is world building. The second part is figuring out something to tell in that world. Right? I just enjoy doing the first part, and that's fine. That's fine. People have their own ways about telling things. People have their own thoughts, you know. And here I am rambling about, um, other people's thoughts, maybe other people's creative intention, other people's uh, hmm, other people's viewpoints on the stories that I make, stories that other people make, right? Like I enjoy listening to other people's stories because they can do the story part. I just enjoy doing the world part. And it's not wrong. It's not right. It's just what it is. And a world that I myself make. right? I'm the god of this world or something. I mean, I don't wanna like think of myself as that, right? But in a way, like I created this world. I created the thought of um this this made up world that anything can happen, right? It is a blank canvas, right? And I just draw the world. I don't draw the people in it. I don't draw a storyline through the entire thing, right? Because I just can't go through that part myself. I can, right? But it just takes a lot more effort than a good chunk of the people. And you know, for people that are far more creatively diverse than I am, you know, I think of myself as a somewhat creative person, but um, you know, I'm not up there compared to people that are able to create worlds and make a story through. I'm just stuck at square one, or maybe like square three, maybe. But like I just hit a wall when it comes to how do I write this in a way that comes to a story, because I can't. I can, but it's a lot harder, right? And you know, I've had certain like uh like sometimes even my stories come through dreams. So the plane rooms one didn't. I don't know. Uh, um, and the main reason why, at least like for for my stream stories, right? Like Gateway Storytime, I don't know who watching would know about them. But I hope that at least a good chunk of you guys would like know that I do horror stories most of the time. Not because it's like not because everyone likes horror. I mean, I enjoy a little bit of horror, a little spookish, right? But it's just like an easy one to do, right? Like something lurks in the dark, or something's wrong with this person over here, or um, I can't figure out why this happened. Like, yeah. I mean, like the last one with the sleep curse was an interesting one because I just it was a story that I just right like a world where everyone slowly falls asleep, and you're like you may be the last one. I don't know, but you're one of the last ones that are still awake, but you've been awake for way too long. Your body's really feeling it, and you know, I've thought about progressing that story a little bit more, right? But now I'm just thinking about, you know, how would the world build? Because everyone's asleep now. Everyone's asleep. But hear me out. What if they all just woke up all of a sudden and something was different? Something in them, you know, something along those lines, right? Like there is a reason why they all slept, or there is a reason why no one could have been awake to figure out uh why they were sleeping, right? Like maybe they were all transported to another universe, or maybe it was a virtual system and they were trying to do their best to, stay in it or something, right? Or maybe even like they all fell asleep and woke up with superpowers or something. I don't know, freaking know. And or maybe they just like maybe everyone just needed to sleep. 'Cause, like something in like maybe there was like some external force that humans didn't know of, that um that affected everyone in the world. And it was just it was uh this battery that everyone was like the universal, I don't know, like hive mind battery or something was just running low. Everyone needed to recharge it by sleeping or something, right? Like I don't really know what how that world could go, right? But there's it's literally countless, right? Because any idea that people might have towards that one, can possibly happen, right? I mean, I leave most of my stuff on, I wouldn't say cliffhangers, but on kind of finishers. I guess they're kind of cliffhangers, yeah. But it's just to leave the people with an idea of wanting more, right? Because then they start thinking about the more, right? What could happen? Could happen, right? The sleep curse was one where I ended it on the person finally going to bed, but who knows what happened afterward, right? Who knows what happened to the world afterward? Who knows? Like maybe they just don't wake up. Um, let's see, the plane rooms one. Uh, like it kind of had a continue, it kind of had the sense of continuation, right? Because the airport that they were in, or like the airport that was there, right, was completely empty, right? And that tells people that maybe he hasn't escaped, right? Or it's a possibility that it was just closed at the time. You know, maybe he runs around in the open space, opens one of the hangar doors, and bam, another plane. He hasn't escaped, right? Or it's like I don't know. When it comes to stories, right? I I like the big picture. I don't like the nitty gritty details. I don't like doing that part, right? Like I enjoy just going through stories myself, right? I'm like, mm, I like getting to the point, right? But like sometimes, or a good chunk of the time, people just need to relax and um. Oh, well, I need to. Okay, at least I just have to take a step back, slow down, talk about some of the details that people might be wondering about, right? And I think I do go into a good chunk of the details some of the times, but it just doesn't happen. I don't know how else to explain it. Just doesn't, because um how do I say this? The like maybe it's and I just grabbed the bottle and I took a sip of it and it was like the most amazing thing he's ever had. Something along those lines. Maybe I can do. But I don't think I don't really think about it like that way, because it just becomes I'm focusing too much on certain aspects, right? And that's been the main reason why I don't think that I really enjoy doing the storytelling part. And that's probably the main reason why I just enjoy making broad stroke in the painting, you know? Not like the little fine minute details that people would be worried about. I just enjoy the broad strokes and creating what I feel like work, because I enjoy doing that part and I enjoy less doing the little minute details. And sometimes I have, um bigger ideas about some other worlds. Maybe I have some other ideas about some, other things, right? Maybe I will go into detail in some of them, right? But, it's just not something that I do much myself. But, yeah. Well, I've been, uh, I've been letting out a good rant now, and I don't know if, you guys will, uh, enjoy or not. Maybe. Maybe you guys will just enjoy listening to me ramble on about some certain things. Maybe I'll ramble on some worlds in the future, You flesh out some ideas in my own head. But I think I think that'll be it for at least this time. I do thank everyone here for watching at least. And I hope that you guys all enjoyed it. And I thank you guys. Bye bye.